episode 5.
Second to last episode.
Second to last episode.
We're almost there. To think that this just came about, spitballing ideas about our capstone project.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever mentioned that we're doing it as a capstone.
I don't think we have either.
As master students, we have to do one capstone project, which is a project that incorporates the community, like bringing awareness or bringing athletic training outside of the clinic to the general population to give people kind of an idea as to what we do as athletic trainers. And so we were kind of just sitting with our capstone coordinator and talking about what we wanted to do for a capstone. And McKenna had said, hey, why don't we do a podcast?
I was just totally kidding, by the way. I didn't think this would actually become a thing, but here we are.
Yeah. And our clinical coordinator was like, that sounds like a pretty good idea.
Unique.
And we ended up doing it. I mean, $500 later to pay for equipment, starting from scratch, learning how to edit videos and everything. And here we are. Second to last episode, which is a little sad, but
forced to do. We might continue it. That's still to be determined.
I mean, I liked it. I like doing it. I enjoyed it. So
it's not bad. But
definitely not the worst.
We'll have to come up with different ideas, different ways to expand it, and how to do it whenever we both have lives and jobs and
maybe better equipment.
I honestly don't know what they're doing.
It takes a lot of time. It's 8 weeks of recording, finding people to interview, editing these things, like creating scripts, all that. It's fun. I'm not complaining about it. It's just a lot of work. So BOCs are done.
Yes.
It's over.
Took it 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks? Last week.
2 weeks ago, whenever this comes out.
That's true. 2 weeks. Yeah, that's okay. I'll cut that out.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago was our BOC. I'm glad it's over. We talked about it so much that we just wanted it to be done.
And it's finally done. It was like coming out of there was like 1,000 pounds taken off my shoulders.
Yeah.
I could breathe again. I could relax again. I can finally sleep through the night without waking up in a panic that I've missed something.
Well, that's good to know because I am not there.
I mean, I still have assignments, but I don't panic about this.
I do not. I feel like I can't relax yet.
Why?
Because I'm just worried about what.
You can't do anything about it. They're going to come whether you want them to or not. It's not like you can change the grade.
Yeah, I know. But tell that to my brain.
Okay.
I dream about it at least 3 times a week.
That's awful.
Yeah. And it's like, it's literally me dreaming about questions. Oh, did I change this? Did I not get it right? It's on my mind every day. At least once a day. It's running through my mind. So I'm glad you're able to finally relax.
I'm living a great life without even second guessing anything about that test.
Yeah.
Because I can't change what has happened.
Yeah. I process stress differently than you do.
Yeah, no.
Clearly.
Yeah, obviously.
Without talking too much about the test, did anything really get you off guard?
Not really. Our professors did a really good job of explaining, showing us different things that might come up on it, and I think that everything that was on it I had either seen or they had warned us about before. I will say that there was a lot.
Can't say that.
Yeah, I didn't think so. But yeah, no. So I would say no, that there's nothing that I hadn't seen before or wasn't warned about prior to taking the test.
We'll cut that out. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I don't feel like I was taken off guard by any of the questions. Thankfully, I think our school did a pretty good job equipping us with the knowledge of what to do, what to answer.
Yeah.
Definitely, I have definitely taken tests in our program where I sat down and just definitely blanked out. What am I doing here?
Bro, no, I told one of our professors that too. I was like, I've definitely been more brain dead after some of y'all exams than I felt after that BOC. Like, I don't know, it's crazy to me. I came out of that BOC actually, like, didn't need a nap. It was crazy.
No, I had a hangover for 2 days.
Well, not for different reasons.
From the test. I wish it was from celebrating, but no, definitely had a headache for at least 2 days. I'm not kidding.
So all that time that you spent studying, what do you do with it now, since you don't have to study anymore?
I just kind of sit around like
Twiddle your thumbs,
Like-
wait for the results to come back.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I think now it definitely is weird all that time with having all that time because we dedicated so much to it. Now it's gone, and you're like, what do I do now? And so even clinicals are done,
Yep.
and it's not like we're at our clinicals all the time. I think I'm at my clinicals, I don't know, maybe 2 days, 3 days out of the week.
Mhm.
But I'm not there as much as I need to be. Definitely don't go in on Saturdays anymore, thank God. But I kind of just have to find things to do. Actually, it's been nice because now I can actually clean the house. I can actually wash the dishes, do some chores, help out around the house. Before it was like all hands on deck. I need to study
train wreck.
all these things. I mean, our apartment was not falling apart, but it definitely was not the tidiest of places. But Lucy definitely did her best during the whole thing. But
Now you can pick up your slack.
yeah, definitely. I think I can definitely now contribute to keeping the kitchen clean
and taking care of the kids.
and taking care of the kids. Like this week, I picked them up from school twice.
That's a record.
Which is like the most I've ever done in the last, I don't know, 6 months. So that was nice. But definitely a lot more time to find myself needing to do things with.
Yeah, I mean, I work, and then outside of that, I just go to the gym.
Good for you.
And lift and practice basketball. And yeah, that's all I do.
I am extremely sore today. I cleaned our entire bedroom and I rearranged the entire room. I only slipped 2 discs this time.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
Not too much. I mean, I have my spondy's still there. I didn't fix myself, but it's definitely still there. There's still some slippage, but they didn't slip any further.
Well, that's good.
I didn't drop. So.
I'm glad you can still walk.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, life has been great past BOC studying life and actually enjoying life and not wanting to yeah, we're not gonna go down that path. Life's been great.
Yeah. You're actually going on a vacation.
I am. I leave tomorrow.
Which doesn't make sense.
What? For what?
You took your BOC, now you're going on a vacation.
I gotta reward myself for all the hard work.
It's true. Ain't no
Relax.
time for that.
And it's not any vacation. You act like I'm going for fun. I'm going to see my brother up in Washington. He has lived out of state for 4 years, and we only see him twice a year.
What are you doing in Washington?
What
are you gonna do in Washington?
Well, whenever I get there, it'll be like 35 degrees. So I'm gonna try and stay warm because I don't do very well in the cold. And then I think we might hike a mountain and then obviously watch some baseball games because he works for a minor league baseball team up there. So probably throw out a first pitch if I'm lucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've never been to a minor league. I went to a Rangers game, and that was really fun. I think tickets were like $30. So it wasn't.
Why don't you go here?
It wasn't crazy. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, they have fairly cheap tickets. 2 kids. That's why I don't go. It's extremely difficult.
Great outing for them.
For what? Like 3 innings, and then we have to leave.
That's all you need, anyways. Baseball
that's like
game.
$60 in total in tickets. I'm not gonna throw away $60 for 3 innings.
Well,
and on top of that, Lucy hates baseball.
Oh,
she thinks it's the most boring sport in the world. I like it.
I love baseball. I've grown a passion for it since Austin's been in it.
Yeah,
but
it's definitely fun. I mean, I like it. It's definitely fun to be there and have a couple beers.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that are like $15, but you know.
That's true. So
don't drink many of those.
So for episode 5, we're gonna do an interview with a local athletic trainer. He's a man that wears many hats. That was terrible.
Start over. Ready, set, go.
Okay. So for episode 5, we're interviewing a local athletic trainer. He is a man that wears many hats. Is a CEO of Bethpage Consulting, which is a local company that contracts ATs out, which is super cool. I've never even knew that was a thing until meeting him. He also works with the local rodeos here in San Antonio and this outlying cities. He's also a part owner of the Reps Clinic here at the Y in San Antonio. Like I said, he's a man that dabbles in a lot of things. He's one of the greatest athletic trainers that I know. And so we'll kick it away to Sam McCrary. Okay, so take 2. I did the same thing as last episode and forgot to unmute the mics, which is great. So today's guest, we have Sam McCrary. He is the CEO of Bethpage Consulting. He dabbles in rodeos and amongst other things. He wears many hats. He's also a pretty famous guy in the AT community here in San Antonio.
I don't know about that.
Sam, you want to introduce yourself?
Maybe infamous. So yeah, Sam McCrary. I am an athletic trainer, been in the market in San Antonio, moved here in 95, did 21 years in secondary school education. The interesting part is the full-time athletic training life I was not real long in. I moved into school administration in 05, athletic administration as an athletic director in 13, and then jumped out in 18 and started my work at Bethpage Consulting, managing outreach athletic training. And then ever since then, yeah, I've been doing rodeo coverage since 96.
I was born in 95.
That's perfect.
So
Perfect.
when I was fresh out, you were already
That's right.
knee deep.
I was married in 94. So hello, son. Nice to see you today.
I'm not even going to ask how old you are.
So I met you working a local rodeo here, and I always, throughout school, we talked about athletic training and how they do stuff in the rodeo, but we didn't know really much about what they do until I kind of started to see it firsthand. So working the rodeo, I mean, that's an extreme sport. So how does that differ from your typical collegiate level or secondary level or professional? I mean, I know consider professional athletes, but what's that difference?
So really the big difference when you're dealing with a professional rodeo athlete, right, is remembering that they are a professional athlete. In the rodeo world, PRCA professional athletes, they are actually all independent contractors. So not only are they an adult that can make their own decisions about their medical care, they're also an independent contractor to rodeo. Therefore, they have no financial support once they get injured. Hold on.
And he's getting a call. That's how famous he is.
So yeah, so they're independent contractors. So that where the care changes is that since they don't get paid when they're injured, they only get paid when they ride. They try to participate with injuries that no other athlete would participate with. We're like, professional football player, right? They tear their ACL, they're kind of done, right? They'll be like, hey, I'll brace it. Okay. Yeah. Well, you're not going to go get on the back of a 2,000-pound bull, jump off into a soft dirt, pivot again to try to save your life just to go try to win the $500 for that rodeo. Yeah. Right. That's the athlete we're dealing with. So, the way that they walk in is 1996 Billy Epbauer, Lubbock, Texas, walks in, holds his hand out, and he has a recently reattached thumb, has all the fixation pins out of it. The thumb's black, and he just goes, I need to ride, tape it. That's the difference in rodeo athletes versus any other athlete you get. They play with injuries you would never dream about. And then you have to figure out, okay, how can I do that so that they can compete somewhat safely and keep going on?
It's just duct tape and prayers.
Exactly.
Yeah, a lot of prayers.
Yeah.
A lot of duct tape.
And the little experience that I've had working the rodeo, it's so much different. Like being in, let's say, football, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you have two men that are colliding. There's some definite force that's being generated with those collisions, but there's nothing like a 2,000-pound bull that's trying to get you off its back.
Yep.
If you stand next to the chutes, the ground shakes. So much power, so much force. And you can look at all these crazy rodeo injuries and accidents that happen. But it's very much if I don't ride the next one, I don't get paid. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big motive. And I think that definitely is how it differs. There's, I tear my ACL being a football player. It's okay. That's covered. Yep. I can still play next year.
Yep.
But then the other side, it's, oh, I tore my ACL. Now I can't protect myself. I can try to pivot and I can do all these things, but my body physically cannot do it because it lacks that ligament. So it puts a greater risk on the athlete, which is even more insane. And that's also like another difference with athletic training with sports, and then in extreme sport like bull riding, it's a lot more life threatening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
For 8
the other
seconds.
athletes can get insurance.
Yeah.
These guys can't. So yeah.
That's
What's the craziest injury that you've seen, like, prior to anything in the rodeo session?
We'll go crazy. We won't go worst. I'm glad you said crazy. Most people say, "What's the worst?" I'm like, y'all can figure out the worst, right?
Yeah.
There's so many. I mean, a unique one that happened this year, which I hadn't seen before, happened in Austin. I wasn't there, but the bull collided. You know, they wear basically a bulletproof vest. Mm-hmm. So the bull collided with his vest, but it was enough force that it actually ripped his tricuspid valve in his heart. So he was unconscious in the arena, obviously, before they got him out.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the most unique injuries that I've heard. Luckily, I didn't have to deal with that one, but we know that we could have if we'd have been there, right? Because we're all trained.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty unique one to have to deal with.
Is that something that you knew? Well, no, there was no way that you would have known. I mean, how did you?
X-ray vision.
They don't at the time. They just know that he is literally his heart is not beating properly to the point where he's unconscious.
And that's how.
That is 911.
What does that protocol look like? I mean, I know EMS is there regardless, but
EMS is there, so basically the physician's there as well. Physicians trying to listen to heart sounds, lung sounds. You know, anytime we have somebody unconscious in the arena, the first thing we're getting them out. Then once we get them out, it's the initial eval like anything else. Or we're doing a quick eval. And on like that, we're trying to do major bodily systems like you would anywhere else, right? So it's a lot of it's the same of whatever sport, not sport, bystander that you're in, you're going through those same protocols. What do we think's going on? And then we're getting them in the truck and going, because the other difference about rodeo athletes are they get knocked out a lot. We deal with a lot of guys in the arena that are unconscious when we get to them. When they wake up on a backboard, they don't always react very well. They want to see a face that they recognize. When they don't, they tend to start punching things. So that's the other big difference is right. So you're trying to make sure, is he really out? Is he going to stay out? Is he going to stay out? Okay, great. Y'all can have him.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, I was the other day, I actually listened to a video of JB Mooney talking about being knocked out on a horse. I mean, off a bull, sorry. And he woke up. He said that he heard the clicking of the legs of the gurney to put him in the truck. Yeah. And he woke up, and the first thing he said was, "Give me a cigarette."
And it's JB, yes.
And the person that was rendering aid, he might have been an EMT or paramedic. You can't do that, you know. And then he said the lady who was in charge of the sports medicine truck said, "Get that man a cigarette."
Yeah. And get him out of your unit too. Probably that would be his next thing.
So I mean, we grow up and everybody kind of hears that cowboys are the toughest people out there, and they're
different breed for sure.
Seeing it firsthand, like these are broken men that know they're broken, and they are literally just putting duct tape and saying,
"Let's do it.
Make sure it doesn't fall off, and we'll be all right."
Yeah,
just for the next ride. And so, that definitely changes how you do rehab or treatments. So, what does rehab look like for a rodeo athlete?
So a lot of the rehab that occurs, it's interesting if you go to the Justin Sports Medicine website, because you're dealing with the population that during San Antonio Rodeo, okay, they're up in San Antonio today. Well, tomorrow they're in Arizona. Then Wednesday they're in, whatever other state, Florida.
Right.
So you're dealing with a population that honestly doesn't have time to rehab because they're just trying to get to the next event most of the time. Then they have so a lot of it is, which is the Justin website it's exercises that they can do while driving out of the bed of a pickup, out of the bed of a camper in a hotel room, right? Self-guided stuff. So not a lot of access to stuff. Then whenever they stop, and sometimes they do. And the funny rehab story I'll tell you is, kid last year during Austin, I had one of our other contestants say, "Will you call this kid? I'm worried that he might commit. So that was like an immediate phone call. Hey, what's going on? Well, last year, within, I think, 5 or 6 weeks, he was knocked unconscious 4 times. And so, you know, the old 4 and you're out in high school, right? Didn't quite apply to these guys often.
Second
Correct.
impact is not
Correct.
a thing.
No.
No,
And to be honest, the last one was the centrifugal force of the bull made him pass out. But then unfortunately he got hung up and got beat up some more. Anyway.
G-force?
Yeah. So I called the kid, right, and he actually took, I mean, he stopped. We had a great talk. And then we talked about a progression. And he did it right. I mean, he progressed all the way up to he took time, he did his rehab, he got on mechanical bulls, and he went and got on levels of bulls until he was ready to come back. Here's the funny part, right? So I'm just giving him guidance, and then they go do their thing, and then you don't talk to him for months. So I called him one day. I'm like, hey, how's it going? He goes, well, rehab's going really well. I've been doing a great job on my balance work. Because today I was out in my shed. I was standing on an exercise ball and I had 3 tennis balls and I was throwing them against the wall and catching them. Okay, you're recovering from a concussion. You're standing on an exercise ball in the middle of a barn, bouncing balls off a wall and catch. That's great. You're obviously recovered, but get off the ball. So, right, because when you give them, and the reason I say that is when you give them ideas about things, they're extreme. So sometimes they'll challenge themselves to do it more extreme.
Standing on one leg.
Don't stand on an exercise ball to begin with. If you're recovering from a concussion.
I don't even think I could.
Today's advice, I definitely cannot.
I mean, you'd be surprised because they're crazy athletes. Their balance is insane.
Oh, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Their core is
tight.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. And so aside from rodeo, you run a clinic. Can you talk more about what the clinic is?
Sure.
What y'all do?
So the cool change, right, with the Practice Act in Texas in 2023 was they reclassified athlete to active individual. So it allowed us to open up to the world. One of our biggest things that we do is every week, Susan, who's in our clinic right now, she goes out to the rural market and checks on schools that don't have athletic trainers and does a clinic.
By the way.
Yeah. And
hey, Susan.
Yeah. So she'll check on kids, right? And then what we noticed over the years was, kid would really need some rehab. They're way deep in South Texas. They don't have insurance. There's no therapy around. And so a parent would be like, hey, we've saved our $500. We're going to a Rosti. And it just nails on a chalkboard, right? Not throwing a Rosti under the board, but the fact that this family is saving that much to come drive 2 hours to get a single treatment.
Yeah.
And so we came up with the idea of why don't we, now that we can legally, why don't we open a public facing athletic training room and try to use the masses to take care of the few. And so the concept was a monthly membership like a gym, hoping that a lot of people would join and forget about it like gyms and just keep paying their monthly fee. Hasn't quite been that way. But in that kid's instance, right, we charge $150 a month. We'll put hands on you twice a week. You get unlimited recovery. That really means that kid who'd save $500 now, I can see him for 3 months. And there's not much that we can't get back in 3 months, right, as athletic trainers. And so it was really a passion to try to drive that. So that was kind of what led to the creation of the Rep Clinic that we're in now, which is to keep serving the community in another way that needs to be served.
Nice.
So yeah,
that sounds extremely like a physical therapy clinic. Does that differ from?
It does. So full disclosure, I'm also part of a PT clinic. That one's called Animal Physical Therapy over in Alamo Heights. So obviously the big difference, right? If you really look at athletic trainers and PTs, right? So the PT world, right? The true traditional physical therapy really is, immediately post-injury, post-surgery. That's really where their bread and butter is, right? The athletic trainers, if you really look at where our bread and butter is, it's the emergency up to that spot. We are trained in the rehab side, but really a lot of our focus is always on return to function, return to play, right? So obviously opening a clinic, I have no interest in fighting with PTs, right? So we remember our space, right? When somebody comes in, they're not quite to that return to function. Hey, you need to go see PT, and then they either get their own referrals to go to PT or not. But the biggest difference is the referral. A PT clinic requires a referral, right? Requires a pay per visit. It's limited by insurance. You're normally authorized for 12 visits. So a lot of it is it's limited down unless you're cash paying per service, right? And so the difference here is we're doing the monthly fee, which is the price of one cash pay visit at a clinic anywhere else, because this is more of a give back and service than it is about making money.
Okay.
But yeah, we understand our pace. We love our PTs, and we'll keep right on going.
So speaking of PTs and referrals, do
Yes.
you, I mean, maybe I would assume because of the hat you wear with Alamo Heights Physical Therapy, do you collaborate with physical therapists, chiropractors, a Rosti?
So the problem in asking me about that, so basically you're asking me about navigation. The biggest part of my job, other than running the businesses, is I am the sports medicine navigator for the area. And so those calls are taken by me, Lauren Mata, and Susan. Every athletic trainer in the region, most coaches have that number. And those phone calls come in and we are connectors. And that's really what an athletic trainer is, right? In their sports community for their teams, they are connectors to the medical world. We know the people, we can get people in. Okay. It's just we've kind of built it up to the network where we can get people almost anywhere that they need to go. And so, yes, we collaborate with when a person comes in and Sean does his eval and he determines what their needs are, we help the patient get from point A to point B so they get the care they need. If it's us, great. If it's not us, we're going to get them there. For instance, he evaled one yesterday morning. He's like, this may be a first or second rib clavicle, but it also may be a clot. So may not be a clot, may be. By 2 p.m., I had her in with an ortho, right? They were ordering a contrast MRI to look at everything. So that's also the thing of once we see it and we figure out what's going on, we have enough connections in the community that we get them same day care based on what they need.
So how do you navigate that with their insurance too?
So that is just the handoff. That's the joy of what I do.
Yeah.
I get to hand them off to the doctor's office and say, figure it out.
Yeah.
And the same with PT, right? Like when Sean looks at him and goes, you really need to go see your PT. I'll see you on the other side of that. We'll ask them what their insurance is, and then we'll try to help them find that PT clinic in their area where they live that fits them, fits their lifestyle that their doctor can refer to, that kind of thing.
I got you.
So as far as like modalities and stuff like that you use, that's basically done by that price that you charge a month. So if they need any other modalities, it's just, there's no extra, no cash price, that type of stuff.
Nope.
That's another thing that's just another thing how you differ from a PT clinic. Everything is by codes and all that stuff. And so what type of modalities do you use quite often? Is this, so being that you have the background in rodeo, is that the same kind of principle? Is it like let's like treat them and eat them, or is it let's take our time with it? Or
no, we are 100%. So right, the difference in what we're doing in here, and this is really Sean's concept. This is the part where he and I agree, and I've learned a lot from Sean. Sean's an amazing athletic trainer. He's an amazing practitioner, right? The best modalities we have as athletic trainers to begin with are attached to our hands, are attached to our arms, right? And right between our ears. So, I mean, the thing with anybody that you're working with is you have to be listening. When you watch them walk into the room, you already can tell what's going on most of the time. And then you start listening to them and you follow their story. When you put your hands on them, your hands will guide you to what the issues are, right? And so it's that importance of really starting the good eval first, which is your neuro eval. I'm going to look at, okay, what's going on? Man, my back's been hurting here. Great. Well, we're going to start at your feet, right? We're going to check all the nerves all the way up, because even though you came in for SI pain, or even though you came in because your big toe is swollen, we found that it was an issue in your back or an issue in your neck, right? And so really it's utilizing those tools first. Then the athletic training profession for a lot of years got very modality heavy, right? It's toys. The toys are expensive, so we throw them at people. Okay. But what do the best modality that really was given to athletic trainers is one that I personally don't use, but it's the dry needling, right? In our world, we're outside the high school world, but Susan describes it best. It was the first modality we were given where we can go through the tissue and touch the point of injury, right? And so needling, cupping, stem on the needles, a lot of those are a lot of modalities that we use in this clinic. When it comes to stem machines, we are pretty much exclusively a Mark Pro Plus clinic. That is the one waveform that we love. We don't really have the other machines. We're not an ultrasound group. So we're going to use sauna. We're going to use compression. We're going to use Mark Pros. And we're going to do a lot of needling whenever needling is called for. But what we're going to do a ton of with everybody is manual therapy.
Yep.
Nothing hits the spot like a 75.
That's right.
Needles were a godsend whenever I was in college. That's all I can say. I got needled, I swear, like every other day.
I had no idea what needles were.
I had a Mark Pro that they would give me, put on some boots at the same time. I was okay to go the next day.
Yep.
Yeah, Mark Pros are pretty
I love Mark
gold
Pros.
standard.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. We're not sponsored, by the way.
Yeah. No.
So I mean,
no one getting paid.
Yeah. So what's dealing with like these athletes? Let's just go back to the rodeo, or even let's just say a high school, college athlete, whatever.
General population.
How was that different? What challenges do you face with general population versus your athlete?
So obviously for a lot of people, the conditioning level is different. So it's remembering that you can't quite be as aggressive as you can with a lot of athletes, right? The other part is whether you're a middle school athlete, high school, professional, rodeo, cyclist, car, or general population. In this world, what are the biggest two areas that we deal with everybody? We're all sitting here or we're driving, whatever it is, we have a phone now. And so it leads to posture issues, which lead to back and neck pain.
Scapular dyskinesis.
Yep. So that
straighten out my
correct. So that is you're right. That is any athlete, any population. And most of everything that, I will tell you, when you come in here, almost everybody gets the rodeo hip protocol because most everybody has tightness around hips and their low back's hurting just because of the world that we live in. And so almost everybody gets that in addition to whatever else they have going on.
Okay. So as far as manipulations, do you follow the grade 1 to
4
or 12, whatever grade there is now? Because I know as ATs coming out of the program, we're taught 1, 2, 3 is fine. We don't go 4 or 5. That's not part of
on your manipulation. So
our scope.
So there is a place for manips in certain times, right? We don't manipulate a lot. We take the joint through the range and then try to find, obviously first ribs that are out, rib stuff cages that's where we would probably do the most. But even then, if you think about if it's out and you force it right back, it's coming back out again. It's coming back out.
Yeah.
That's how chiropractors make money. If force it back in, you'll be back next week. Right. So we're working on a lot more manual muscle energy to work its way back as we push them through the motions. Right. So that way, then we're going to focus on what was the source of the issue that led it to there. So then we can work out that issue so it doesn't come back.
Strengthen the muscles around it.
Correct. And so, yes, we, there are times when you need to manip something and we will. We've both, actually everybody in this room, we've all been trained through Sue Falsone's chiropractic or Foundations of Manipulation. I had to think what it was called. Which is led by some really good chiros that do some good work that aren't just poppers.
Yeah.
So
my wife is a freak about wanting
chiropractic.
Yes.
Yeah. There's other ways I can make you feel better.
I love whenever they crack so loud.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I hate this.
You'll feel good in that moment, but you'll be right back to where you were.
You feel
12 hours later.
Great after you got a heat pack and stim on you for the last 20 minutes.
Yep.
I don't care what you do to me. You can hit me in the back with a baseball bat. I'll still walk out feeling great.
Oh, yeah.
It's all the feel good stuff, but not fixing the problem.
Neither here nor there.
Yep.
Nope.
No. So, whenever you're opening this clinic that we're currently in,
Yep.
what were your biggest like marketing strategies to reach out to the
Whew.
population out in the
Great
world
question.
that you were trying to reach?
This clinic, we started very differently. How do you open a clinic and spend no money? So to open this clinic, our marketing strategy has been word of mouth.
Okay.
Obviously working within the Y, so some signage. We actually just moved into this room 2 weeks ago and got the signage up a week ago, and the interest has already increased greatly. So opening this one was different in the fact that we are running it while we're also doing our other job. So this is the hours 50 to 70, right above the 40-hour week.
Yeah.
And so that's allowed us to not have the big investment of hiring staff and having to go raise money for that. We've truly grown, and as we've added patients, we've added equipment. So we started with temp tables.
Yep.
And now we've gotten some good high lows. And so the marketing strategy has been do a good job and let people go talk about it. And then in 3 to 5 years, it should start working. So
Do y'all take in walk-ins, or is it appointment only? Walk-ins also?
walk-ins when they fit.
Yeah.
As the schedule's getting more full, it's changing. We're working on some corporate deals that could change things as well. So we'll see what happens.
Good stuff.
Do y'all do any manual therapy as far as like massages, deep tissue stuff, or is that kind of that little corner that's done around the hall?
Yeah. So the massages and deep tissue, no, we let that alone because obviously in this model where it's membership based, we're trying to keep everybody to 30 minutes.
Okay.
So when you come in, other than your initial eval, we're keeping you to 30 minutes. We have one that's an hour twice a week. That's a different price point. Those are a lot of our high school athletes, professional athletes, those people that are looking for more of a one-on-one training session where they're going to get a little bit of this. They're getting a lot of strength training because Sean also is a CSCS and he actually trains professional athletes as well. So
as far as the gym, at least this location, y'all have free range to kind of go wherever it is that y'all need to go?
Yep. While you're under our care, we can use the whole facility. When you finish your session with us, if you're not a Y member, you're supposed to leave. If you are a Y member, then you still have access.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. Question. Do you ever get people that come in and they're on the computers, like the gaming computers that are here?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, sorry. Do we get people in here? No, because most of the people that are actually going in there are the kids after school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious. I feel like that's kind of becoming this new thing is like the esports.
Oh, yeah.
And
in carpal tunnel.
I was talking to my preceptor about it. I'm like, I'm sure this is like the next thing. Like there's going to be athletic training coverage for esports tournaments.
That'd be crazy.
Which is crazy. Yeah, but I'm sure it exists.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely a need for
Go
it.
take your voodoo wrap and get ready to do some handwork on them. So
we are the most flexible, I think, healthcare professional. In my opinion, at least. I think
it's the interesting part with you guys that are graduating right now too is you're in the time frame where I feel like the world is finally beginning to recognize the diverse skill set that you possess. And as the world, and obviously in Texas, right? Texas is finally catching up and releasing this to the active individual now. But as that's happening now, look at the jobs that are opening. I mean, the biggest push right now in military medicine that's coming out on the military side is prevention.
Yeah.
Who's the prevention specialist? Athletic trainer.
Yep. Maybe 10 years ago, maybe less than 10 years ago, I was told that athletic trainers were now part of the military. And I'm like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. And now, especially here in San Antonio, like,
oh yeah, they're here.
It is very much a thing.
Very much a thing.
Yeah, it was, and it is crazy. They've now adopted athletic trainers to be part of their prevention. And I think we definitely play a pivotal role in prevention, eval, prevention, and referrals and rehab.
Yep. Yeah. And that's why you're seeing more, we employ the 2 athletic trainers in the city of San Antonio for the fire department. Police have wanted them. They haven't had a facility. So that was another driving force in opening here, was giving our officers a spot to go until either the city gets them a facility that we can staff or they just decide to let them come to wherever we are.
Yeah.
But you're seeing a pickup there in first responders.
Yeah.
So looking for the prevention. We have a bid in right now with one of the ESDs. They want the athletic trainer there, obviously, for the after injury, but their biggest thing is firemen get themselves in trouble because they design their own workouts. Just gonna throw it out there. And even when they don't, right? It's like a lot of firemen, when you look at a lot of them, they look like Wreck-It Ralph, right?
Mm-hmm.
Real big shoulders up top, a little bitty waist. And they need more over full body strength than just that. So
Sure.
So the big push right now in that too is ATs with CSCS side. So we can go in there and design all their programming. So.
Yeah. And so as far as like first responders and all that stuff goes, I know you mentioned about trying to get something with the police force here. Do you know about any athletic trainers, or if there's any athletic training in that's Border Patrol or Customs or anything like that?
So there are in our current offices around here. I haven't noticed any contracts come up. I have seen some around the nation that have popped up on the engine. So yeah, it's. I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see a lot in all of the services.
Yeah,
based on what we're hearing from a couple of meetings actually this week. So
that's pretty cool. And I think that's something that I think I brought up, I don't know, maybe a year ago or something at school, asking if there was athletic trainers for Border Patrol, because those guys are,
all of them, right?
All over the place.
Frontline.
They're on foot, they're on horseback. I mean, they're jumping out of cars, like they're doing all these crazy things too. And so
I have a Texas Ranger I work on pretty regularly. I have a buddy that's a Border Patrol, and it's the same thing. They're always like, when can we have one of you, with our unit? And I'm like, tomorrow. Exactly.
Tomorrow,
like,
just
bring
let
it.
me know.
Bring it.
Talk right now.
Show me the money. We'll be there.
So, Sam, thanks again for being here, taking time out of your schedule. You're a very busy man.
Spilling your knowledge about every aspect of athletic training.
You are, you're the guy who wears the most hats probably in San Antonio.
Yes.
I appreciate
it. At least. So, McKenna mentioned to me that she wants to do a clinic. It's like a
sort of
performance,
like performance based, specific. Like an athlete comes in, can do one like skill training for different sports, but also have the clinic side of it. What would you say would be like one of the
advice?
There we go. One of the advice that you would give. Top advice.
Realize how many people it takes to pay the bill.
Yeah.
The hardest thing, right, with anything, because all that either it's the way that we go, which is the monthly, or even if it's cash paper service, right? How long are they really going to come back? Right. And that's the thing that we notice too, is like Sean's he's a really good practitioner. He's actually fixing people. We've got 60, 70, 80, 90, 18, 19, 20, name the age, and they're all feeling better than they felt. Well, as soon as they feel better, what do they do? See them.
Never see them again.
And then maybe you see them in 6 months. So it's like even in our model, right? Like it takes 100 memberships to pay a salary. So then think through your census. If I have 100 members and they're coming regularly, what's that make my schedule look like?
Right.
And what's it take to maintain 100 memberships when most people are staying 1 to 2 months?
Yeah.
And so the advice is just really think through, if you're going to enter it and it's going to be the thing that funds you in the beginning, it's gonna be like a 5-year before you see a return on investment. Right. And you hope that it holds in and it wasn't a loss, because that's the thing in that world when you're trying to do it on your own, is just finding that big enough client base, right? Because even with us, right, like we have 30 members right now, and we're at a Y where Y market's 100,000 people. Yeah.
Sure.
But it's still so much. The larger city gives you access to more people, but the larger the city is, the less the people want to drive. So then it becomes dependent upon where you open.
Location based.
Correct. And used to, 5 years ago, I would have said people would drive across town to come here.
Yeah.
Now, not the way the city's growing with all the construction.
Yeah.
So that's the hardest part, is you got to open in the right spot. You got to, you already need to have relationships with a whole lot of people to begin with. to try to figure that out when you're going to do it. It's a hard road. I mean, it really is, which is why we have it as a piece of something. And we're doing the extra work now, hoping, we're hoping to start seeing it turn the other way by year 3. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, from the outside looking in, it will definitely grow.
Yeah. We're hoping. I mean,
you
we're
guys
helping
have
people.
the skill, you all have the networking.
Yeah.
You have everything it takes to be successful. You got the best working here.
Yeah. Thank you.
For free, but
yeah,
eventually you're going to have to pay them.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, Sam, thanks again.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, so instead of the immersive stories, since we're no longer in our immersives, we are going to do a fun Would You Rather AT edition.
Cool.
All right, so the first one was, would you rather cover a football game in 100-degree heat or a hockey game in a freezing cold rink?
Depends. In this hypothetical would you rather question, can I skate? Oh wait, hold on. You don't
put on skates.
We're in Texas. I don't cover hockey. I don't know what they do. I just assume they go out there and skates.
No.
To answer your question, I would rather cover a hockey game. I can always bundle up.
Really?
Yeah, I hate being outside in the 100-degree heat. It sucks.
No, I'd rather be in the heat.
No.
I can't do the cold.
I just bundle up.
You know how many layers I'd have to have on? I'd freeze to death.
I'm part Eskimo.
And then whenever I'd have to go save somebody's lives, I'd have to unfreeze my hands, crack every bone in there.
That's the difference.
Yep. No.
I would never cover a hockey game in my entire life.
Yeah, no.
Because we're in Texas. Susan is looking at me like,
never say never.
Never say never. 5 years from now, you're gonna see me skating out there on the rink.
You don't skate.
Whatever, man.
Research on that before you actually do it, please.
Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't look at these questions, so it's okay. We'll cut all this stuff out. Okay. Next, would you rather have to use old, barely sticky tape, or only have access to dull scissors for an entire season?
I would have to do old, barely sticky tape. The dull scissors would drive me absolutely insane. I do not have the patience to be gnawing at this tape for as long as it would take to get it off. So, I would either tell the athlete to go get ankle braces if they don't like my tape, or not tape them.
Yeah.
So that's what I would do.
Yeah, I think I would do the same thing. I think they would both drive me insane.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Tape that doesn't stick, and then scissors are terrible. I could not do without
those
sharp scissors.
Yeah, those scissors would drive me insane. You can't do it.
Okay, that was fairly easy.
All right, so the last question would be, would you rather work a 16-hour tournament day or have to restock and organize the entire ATR by yourself?
That's hard. I recently hold on, because I recently did inventory for my site's ATR.
Okay.
And that sucked.
I think it might be different if it's actually yours, though. You know everything. You know where it's at. You know where it's supposed to be.
Okay. But, okay. It definitely still sucks. But, I mean, I know where everything's at there to begin.
Yeah.
But I didn't restock it. But I feel like that's probably worse. So I think working a 16-hour tournament, because it's not like you're watching the whole tournament the whole day. Like, one, there has to be a hospitality room. So unlimited Dr. Peppers and cookies and old cold Olive Garden
pizza
hospitality room. Okay, for one. And then two, it's not like you're watching the whole thing. Like you definitely have your phone.
Yeah, I suppose. I would not choose that. I would definitely choose restock and organize the entire AT by myself. Not only do I not have to see anybody and talk to anybody, but I can also vibe as much as I wanted to and just be in and out. That's 16 hours is crazy in one day. No, thank you.
It took me well over 16 total hours to do that inventory, by the way. But that's also just me. I don't know.
Yeah, we work at different pace.
Yeah, and then it's also by yourself. I could not do by myself.
Oh, I couldn't.
I can.
I'd be vibing.
I need another brain.
I might be cracked out on coffee the whole entire time, but gotta do what you gotta do.
That doesn't sound too bad, actually.
Yeah.
I'm not changing my mind. I'm still working the tournament. I'm the hospitality room is what does it for
Is
me.
what's gonna get you.
Yeah. It has to.
Oh, all right.
So this is the end of episode 5. Haven't decided what we're doing next episode. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. It'll be our last episode, so we'll see.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode. Thank you guys.
Thanks.